wonderful to see you all. So good. Okay. Let's start with a brief silent meditation. Okay. Om, om, om. So wonderful for me to see everybody like this. And welcome to Satsang. So delighted. There are more new faces, and what we do here is just satsang, meaning we just inquire together at the truth and reflect together, inquire together, and usually people ask questions and I facilitate an inquiry. And so if you have a question, raise your hand and let's get started. Atma Vidya.
Haribol.
Haribol.
I I wanted to ask the question that I had sent to you last week, and it was, how does one miss another without attachment to that missing, to that longing?
Yes, that's right.
Yes. I struggle with that. I want to say that I miss people, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I wish that they were like sitting here next to me. Like, oh, your smile is so gorgeous. I love that, or I love your warm presence. But I'm okay with you being, where you are. And then vice versa, when they say, oh, I miss you, I'm like, oh, how dare you? Like, do you want me present with you? Because I like where I am. And so, yeah, I'm looking for insight on how to balance that out so that I can share this longing or love for someone's presence without it necessarily meaning to be here with me.
Yes. It's a beautiful question. Thank you. There's so many angles to approach it from. And first is that, it seems that in the process, the experience of awakening, our relationship with words begins to change, doesn't it? The same word begins to mean something new, or we begin to really inquire, what does it actually mean? Sometimes we find it means something totally different than we thought it did. And then we can become so delicate around words and vocabulary, which is good also, to be precise. Okay? To use words wisely because they're so powerful, and to understand what they mean. This word, this experience of missing somebody, experienced in our attachments, in relationships, is a sign of love, isn't it? And but have you had the experience from before, a different consciousness, where you missed somebody and you found that you resented them for not being there? Or felt rejected by them because they left? And so in this way, of course, missing somebody has a different flavor to it than what you're now talking about. But even this kind of grief, because it's a grief, isn't it? Do you see? There's a sadness, a melancholy, a grief associated with, I miss you. I wish you were here. My heart is aching. But even in this kind of missing somebody, this kind of grief, we can awaken to the fact that this is actually an expression of gratitude, appreciation. Meaning that I really enjoyed the time I had with you, and that is expressing itself now as I miss you. We did this exploration in depth before I left Yogaville. One of the things that's so curious about us is that we can start missing each other before we actually depart, just in anticipation of being gone. And now those last days, weeks even, are somehow squandered in what hasn't even happened yet. But it is an expression of love. Sometimes an expression of love that is felt as a hurt, a rejection perhaps, maybe even a resentment for leaving me. But still an expression of love, and this is important. So this is the experience of missing somebody, of grief in attached relationships. And one more time, this grief is an expression of gratitude. It's an expression of love that often is sort of misunderstood, mischaracterized, and expresses itself as a wound, a resentment. It's not necessary. And even in these kinds of attached relationships, haven't we heard it said, absence makes the heart grow fonder? We'll come back to this absence, this sense of separation that really brings love out of a wound in a way that is ecstatic. That this separation is a sublime, divine experience. But the sense of missing somebody, as you're saying, can even come when one is detached from relationship, perhaps even from one's own identity, resting by and large in peace and happiness. And still there is the expression of great, enthusiastic, joyful connection with people. Like now, for me, with you. And so there can be a wonderful appreciation. And this appreciation can cross over the boundary from at the end of our satsang. So, let's go a little multidimensional for a second, can we? You see, we're having the experience of being together right now, aren't we? Am I there with you? Are you here with me? So there's something in our minds that by seeing your faces, by hearing your voices, there's a sense of connection. But you see, I'm in India. Is this much different than imagination? Because we know it to be true. It just happened with a dear friend. I thought about him lovingly, and he sent me a text within minutes. We all have this experience. It's not magic. We're always connected. This isn't some sort of spiritual poetry, you know. We're all one, we're all connected. No, it's the fundamental truth that really begins to become apparent to us as the veils of ignorance are removed slowly. And so, are we where our thoughts are? Very much so, isn't it? This is our experience. Our experience follows thought. Isn't it so? So when I think of you lovingly and either remembering a time or imagining a time where I'm enjoying your company, my experience is joyful, isn't it? And that's happening within the body in India, through the function of imagination and maybe some memory. But having the experience The nervous system, the heart rate, the breath, the smile on my face, all of these things representative of an experience that's happening in the mind. And this isn't that much different, this Zoom internet connection. There are a couple things to cue us, visual and very important. So is there cause to really miss anybody? But it still happens. It still happens for the awakened one. But really it's experienced as a great joy. Were I to see them, how magnificent. But this also is perfect. I've been thinking a lot about this in relation to my guru Mooji. And I've thought about it a lot over the years in my relationship to my guru, Swami Satchidananda. If only I'd met him, and we'd had an actual person-to-person exchange. If only I could be at Manta Sahaja for a day, just to spend 5 minutes with Mooji. But you see, the thought of it actually is the joy itself, isn't it? Of course, it could be some kind of lament. I'm so sad. I may never get to see him. But is there a choice point there for us? If there is this choice point of lament or joy, or even joy of lament, this is freedom. This is detachment. This is you choose how you feel. Your choice. And then there is the ecstasy of the heartache of separation. Probably everyone on this call knows the heartache of romantic love, especially a new one. And there's the great honeymoon. And then if there's some time apart, you can't eat, you can't sleep, right? And the mind is constantly focused on this one. There's a joy in this heartache, isn't it? It gives a real gravity to the sense of being in love. This same joy, this same ecstasy is true when we come into contact with the indwelling divinity. Attached, separate, but in a rapturous joy. In the Krishna Consciousness tradition, there's a book called The Nectar of Separation. Isn't it? Isn't this what it's called, Deepti? There's one called The Nectar of Devotion. I think there's also one called The Nectar of Separation. Well, there's this sense of I think this might say it. There's a story of Radha and Krishna and the gopis are all in the same spot. Radha standing right next to Krishna. And somebody, I think it goes like this, somebody says, "Where's Krishna?" And Radha falls to pieces. She's standing right next to Krishna. And she falls to pieces. Where is my Lord? And he's standing right there. And we all have had this experience also, haven't we? Especially on the path of awakening, where you have this sense of a connection, and then somehow it feels like we've lost it. It makes us want it back all the more, doesn't it? So this sense of missing, of separateness, is really part of the sacred, it's part of the sacred divine experience of connected and separate simultaneously. And then it continues to grow. And it's like it becomes an ever-growing wanting to be closer and closer to God. And each wanting met and sated, fulfilled. And then the wanting grows more, and then it's fulfilled and grows and fulfilled. A constant dance of it. More. Where desire and desire fulfilled is fulfilled by the one thing that can actually fulfill it in ever increasing amounts, where there is no limitation. A reservoir of love available to each of us in ever-expanding supply. But you see, in order to find this, it seems we must first withdraw our desires from the objects that cannot fulfill, that only can frustrate. And even if they do fulfill, they fulfill in ever-diminishing returns. It's not wrong. It's not wrong, it's not immoral. It just doesn't work. There's no shame in it. No need to criticize yourself, or certainly anybody else. But know, from your own experience, from your own experience, know for yourself, does it work? Eventually, each one, having been graced with the ability to pay attention for some sustained period, where the forgetting somehow is removed, slowly, and each one will come to see, I am chasing happiness from things that cannot provide it in any consistent or trustworthy fashion. And so as a pure matter of practicality, we detach. Detached, maybe for a time lost, and then attach. I think it's one of the most beautiful things I've heard from Swami Shivananda. Detach, attach. Turn to the fulfiller of desires. In Guru Gita, this one is known as Shiva. Who himself in Guru Gita, isn't it, Ranjani Ma, is worshiping Satguru. That's an interesting twist. Because the truth is, when you detach and you turn and seek refuge and fulfillment in the opposite direction, inward, every step is met with two. We could say, perhaps, when you move toward God, God is obliged to move toward you. It's just true. Take 3 steps forward, and you will have more God than you can imagine. And when this becomes your singular focus for seeking all happiness to be fulfilled by this single focus, this drishti of your attention, heart and mind, then this is the experience that's waiting for us. A joy that doesn't dissipate. It doesn't diminish. It doesn't bring a hangover. This intoxicant is too clear, too pure to leave you with a hangover the next day. And so from here, this sense of separation means there's more distance to travel, which is itself a joy. Ever expanding. I wonder, is this what it means? My cup overfloweth? Having tapped into the source of illimitable supply, I can't possibly contain it all. And there are clues to it all the way through our entire journey. Even when we are interacting with the things of the world and relationships in the world, there are hints all through the whole thing. So, this grief itself is a joy. It's a gratitude. And can you see, it always has been. In every grief has been a hidden appreciation. Nobody ever grieved losing something that they didn't want. Right? Well, it's not entirely true, I suppose. Different topic. Okay. Atmavidya, is this sufficient? Something else to share with us?
Yes, that's very sufficient. But so much has come up. And so thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Johnny has his hand raised.
Johnny. Wonderful to see you.
Hey. My question is about I'm becoming increasingly aware how everything I do is, at its very core, has a survival fear driver behind it. Like, if I don't do X thing, and then you can just kind of, you can extrapolate that, but at the core of it, I'm starting to feel this like survival fear at the very core. And particularly, it's particularly present for me because I think I'm moving into a period where I will probably need to kind of trust in God on the practicalities in a way that I haven't done before. You know, I've sort of, there's been a kind of constant activity that's been enabling my survival, or at least been perceived to be enabling my survival. And the terror of stopping doing that is significant. And I guess my question is about like how to increasingly surrender and trust on practical things, but also, you know, without being like totally reckless and just kind of giving everything up and becoming a wandering sadhu. Like, where's somewhere in the middle? Yeah, that's my question. Thanks.
Yeah, very good. We all know this dilemma, don't we? Have you heard the phrase, the wise phrase, trust in Allah and tie your camel to a post? You see, we think fear is related to doing or not doing, but it isn't. It isn't. The fear precedes the question. To come to recognize this, Johnny, that fear has been the inspiration for so much of our activities. Fear has been animating our tongue, animating our hands and feet, and this is just how it is. This is the symptom of avidya, of blindness, of ignorance. And this is how it is, and this is what it feels like, and this is how we are animated, is by fear itself. And the one who comes to recognize this is at the beginning, the very beginning of the end. But you see, the opposite of fear, let's just call it in this moment detachment. Detached from action and detached from inaction. Detached even from the mind that makes a false choice between the two. That thinks that the prescription to overcome fear is either action or inaction. Now, this inaction inspired by fear is called paralysis. We all know this. This is tamas, lethargy, inertia, depression, despondency. Curled up in a corner. burying our head under the sheets because we can't face the day. Huh? I have known this. And then the fear that ambulates as anger and competition, all manner of spoken and physical violences. But know this as a very practical matter. The fear is there whether you do a thing or not. And this paralysis, this not doing, which is so common, it's such a common misunderstanding in a spiritual path, and forgive yourself for it and everybody around you that you see it happening. It's a bit like whistling in the dark or closing your eyes so that you can't see what's in the mirror. But when it comes to doing, this will free you. Know that the fear is there whether you do a thing or not. And so this gives you full permission to engage in right action. Because you're going to be afraid whether you do it or not, you might as well do it. Fear is going to be there whether you indulge or not, so you might as well abstain. You see? He who knows action in inaction and knows inaction in action, he is wise among men. This one is a yogi. This inaction in action is detachment. It's peace and joy and love. Can even be experienced, this enlightened action, duty, dharma, can be experienced by a warrior on the battlefield. This is the story of Bhagavad Gita. This story, Bhagavad Gita, Johnny, is your story. The whole thing happening inside of you in this very moment, and also there's a whole cast and crew, set design, the whole thing for you to play out your heroic drama. But most importantly, on the spiritual path, see it. Your fear precedes your fear precedes the conflict. Your fear precedes the discomfort. And it will continue if you don't face it. And grow even. Especially if you fall into despondency, it will grow. If you move into wrong action, it will grow. And the fear has already overtaken mankind. This is what's called suffering. That's not your problem. Your problem is your own. to come to this recognition is so profound. It's a huge victory in awareness. But now, now you've got to act in accordance with your awareness. And also, let me point this out. There's no way for you to get it right. There is no path before you that doesn't have 1,000 mistakes, stumbles, falling into pitfalls, the same one over and over again. This is what awaits you. And so, but understand this, because if you get it, that you can't get it right, by reviewing your own past, you'll see, it also means you can't get it wrong. Meaning, cut yourself some slack. And maybe even enjoy a little bit the difficulties that await you. Because truly, this experience of awakening is, we're like a character bound on the page that's already written for us, and it's just too tight. It's too constricting, too limiting. It's already written. But this process of becoming awakened to the fear that has moved you all along, now you've got one hand on the pen that writes you. You see? You can move from character to actor playing a role. Do this. It's so much better. And do it right. Treat people well. Love and serve. Be respectful. You'll enjoy it so much more in this way. So, trust in Allah. Tie your camel to a post. Is this okay?
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm sure there's so much more, but that's a great start. Thank you.
Okay. And also, reach out anytime. Okay.
Andrew, small has his hand raised.
Andrew. Hello, Andrew. Hariom.
That was wonderful. I have a question it feels quite related to what Atmavidya asked before. When I'll use the examples before, when someone misses me, or even let's say I'm having an interaction with someone where you can tell there's some sort of neediness there, and as I go on my own path, I discover more and more subtle neediness in all my interactions almost, from people. And as you were responding to her, I was contemplating, like, what about this do I dislike? Because I can see that in the example of someone missing me, and it seems to be corroborated with what you said, that what they're missing is certain appearances of me, namely the visual impression of me. Much of their experience with me is still with them. And so what about this experience of someone missing me do I really dislike? And the answer that came to me was, they're not actually seeing me, they're missing a character in their own mind. Of course, I do this as well. And so again, the answer that came to me about what I really dislike about this is someone not seeing me for me. And then of course, in the rare instances where I do meet someone where I feel like they see me for me, such as yourself, for example, I immediately do the exact same thing to them. As far as neediness, I immediately go, oh, here's someone who finally sees me for me, and then there's this clinginess about it, this neediness for that. So it's the same thing in me. And though I recognize this, I really, really struggle with this. I feel used in a way, like someone isn't seeing me for me, they're just sort of using me in their own story to make themselves feel better, and that feels really bad. This is a real sticking point for me. I don't, there's such a sadness in it. There's such just a feeling of being used. And like I said, I can see how I do this to other people as well. I'm not sure what to do with this. I'm hoping you can maybe shed some light on it.
Very good. Okay, be with me. Who is it that wants to be seen? Oh. Yeah.
I can see where you're going with that. I feel so intertwined with this one.
Yes, well, what if it's not rhetorical?
What do you mean?
I mean, can that one speak and say, this is who I am, this is how I want to be seen? So I say, who is it that wants to be seen? And of course, being engaged in self-inquiry, you'd be like, yeah, I get it, but, right? But what if there's a real answer to it, and go find it, and find this one that wants to be seen, and how he wants to be seen, how he wants to be appreciated, even how he doesn't want to be seen, hasn't liked being seen, feels confined by the limitations assigned to him by other. That it's not an inquiry, that it's an actual question that's asking for an answer. Who are you that wants to be seen? How would you present yourself and say, okay, this is who I am, please see me this way?
I would say I want to be seen in the now and not in a past. I want to be, I like the word, connected with and not related to.
I think that's exactly it. Each of us wants to be as we are. It's a funny thing, isn't it? That this permission to be as we are in any given moment, it isn't implicit in our experience, is it? There was one moment, maybe 9 or 10 years ago, And I had just done like a wonderful breathwork session, conscious connected breath. It was like a stand graph with the landscape of music, and I had, so many of us had this wonderful sort of release. And I remember after this session, I felt so good and limber in my body that I was able actually to touch the floor with both hands flat. And felt so good and light and free. And as I was leaving the building, I heard the thought, my own thought saying, wondering, what's on my schedule next? Where am I going? And who do I need to be? And I caught it, and I was horrified at the thought and the implications of the thought. That in order for me to be okay, wherever I was going next, I had to put that suit on. You see, but this is happening all the time. One way with a child, another way with a parent, another way with a lover, with a boss, employee, priest, friend. Each friend, you have a different one. Different way of being. And all of this is informed, isn't it, by memory. In fact, whether you like somebody or not, at first glance was something energetic, vibrational, isn't it? And it wasn't always accurate. But more and more, whether you like somebody or not, it's nothing more than a collection of memories. A collection of resonances and dissonances that are saved as memory and that inform how you are with people when you see them again. You see, but when we show up, we never show up new. We've already put on the outfit without even knowing it. We've put on the outfit to be how we're going to be when we walk into the office, when we come back home, when we go into church, when we go to... And everyone else is doing the same thing. So this also is a profound recognition. The truth is, you've never been seen. And it's painful, isn't it? Because the thing is, it's like somebody else, it's like a straitjacket, It's so restricting. This is how I need to be for you. And it's even more insidious because if I express joy or pursue joy in a different way, you, liking me the old way, may call me selfish. You may call me so many things. But who's selfish, actually? The one who wants to keep you where you are for their own sense of happiness, or the one that really is invested in your joy? How many people are really invested in your happiness? Truly. Want you to be as happy as they are, want you to be happier even than they are? How many people is this true of for you? You see, because we're all in it together. But this is how it is. This is why the prescription of forgiveness. Because in forgiveness, I give you back to yourself. In forgiveness, I take me back for myself. In our neediness, we need to be seen. It's perfectly fine. It's totally legitimate. Go get it. Be seen. Find somebody that can see you. But also know, we're all limited in our ability to see. How many of us even have come to see the lens through which we look? That casts the image, superimposes the image on you that makes you what you are. The one who becomes clear of this, it becomes clear. I think Andrew, the other Andrew and I were talking about this recently. They make you what you are. There will come a time where you'll have no quarrel. They'll say so many things about you, but you'll see they're just saying it from where they're looking, through the lens of their own memory, their own past. They don't see you as you are, they see you as you were. And even then, not quite accurate, because it was through the lens that they were looking from who they were before even then. How far back does it go? And this is the world of transactional love. Seeking praise and eschewing blame. Be guilty of everything they say and don't mind. So this is how it is and this is how it feels. It's so painful, isn't it? This is the bondage. We do it to each other, we do it to ourselves. All of us in quicksand. And there are parts of it, please, that are beautiful and good and right. I guess I want to say that I'm only pointing to the pain of it, the difficulty of it, the feeling constricted and bound in it. It doesn't make it actually wrong. But it's good to want to be free of it, I think. And so I ask again, who is it that wants to be seen?
Thank you. It's clearer now that this one is not me. I can see why that recognition is so elusive here, or it seems why there's just so much sadness there. Yeah. But it is clear that it is not me. Thank you.
Yeah. And I want to point to this. It'll be difficult for some time to really tap in an honest way to this. The whole thing is gloriously beautiful. In the misunderstanding, in the chasing, in the loving and transacting and all of the conditions we set on ourselves and others and the conditions they set on themselves and us, it's beautiful. You will one day see it. So there's no need to condemn it, but to withdraw. This is wise. And truly find the one who cares. Not rhetorically. Find that one and produce them. Give them a voice that you yourself will hear. This is the movement that inspires all of everything in the world, is the human desire to be seen and heard and accepted and loved. It's beautiful and so painful because we're looking in all the wrong places. But this is fundamental. And when you yourself are love, when you're in full acceptance of yourself, giving yourself full permission to be as you are, seeing how could you be otherwise, when you're this way towards yourself, this is what you will share with the world. And whether they see it or not, you'll be indifferent. You won't mind. Because you'll see everything you think you know about another says more about you who's perceiving than about the other. It doesn't mean they're innocent. In fact, by and large, we're guilty of the things they say to a certain degree. At least have been in the past guilty. This is what's called karma. You cannot lay an accusation at my feet that I am not guilty of, that I have not been guilty of, at least in some past lifetime. This, by the law of karma, as I understand it, nothing can befall me that isn't mine. Now, people have said some really range of different things about me. All of them are true in some point in time. It may be a complete fabrication, but 4 lifetimes ago, guilty as charged. Mea culpa. I'm so sorry. What if all of our experience is a reflection, a sort of conspiracy of past, with a script to help us be free, to show us where we have fear, to show us where we have anger and jealousy and envy? Not as a punishment, but as, hey, this is what's inside that's creating the suffering. Are you ready to be free of it? Thank you. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. Now, I've told this several times, and I love it, and so I'm going to say it one more time, because I think this is really important, which is the parable of the 5 blind monks and the elephant. I think we might have even done it on Friday, but anyway. So one blind monk has the tail and says, aha, it's a rope. And another monk, blind monk, has the leg and says, it's a tree. Another one has the side of the belly and says, it's a wall. And they're arguing with each other, calling each other fools. And the whole world is this way. It's looking at a single glorious gem with infinite facets. And all we ever see is where we're looking from. Engaged in the tiniest little facet and thinking that is the totality. And we just don't know until it's somehow revealed. And so all debate and all argument is completely absurd. But what does the elephant say? What do you say, Andrew, when they can't see you, don't see you, say this or that? You see, because the elephant the monks are irrelevant. Maybe, I say, the monk in the back pulls the tail too hard or screams in the ear or something, and it might, But does it care? And moreover, does it want to be seen? Does it even consider itself elephant? You see? So know this simultaneously. Know this deep in your heart as a continued inquiry. Who suffers? Who is needy? Who wants to be seen? It doesn't mean being in total denial of the experience of how painful it is and how we share our pain so broadly with people we call friends and family. The one who is free is in joy completely indifferent to praise or blame. In a text, a beautiful text called the Recognition Sutras, if I can oversimplify, it says it all boils down to concealment. We are concealed from ourselves through avidya, ignorance. The world is concealed from us through this same avidya, the same blindness. And for the one who their self has been revealed, the world can be revealed, and they also can conceal themselves from the world. How many Buddhas are there in hiding that aren't seen? Maybe the very one who cuts us off in traffic last week, you know? We just don't know. Each one is running around in a constant subconscious personal marketing and PR campaign. Think of me this way, don't think of me this way. I would say probably upwards of 85-90% of every word uttered by people is some form of self-promotion or self-defense. Could be very subtle, even how they talk about the weather or their sports team or the politics, or not so subtle. We're all running around saying who I am and how I want you to think about me. Oh, it takes so much energy. And people keep changing their minds about you, so you've got to keep tracking them down. Changing their minds over and over again. And then you'll actually do or say something in complete contradiction of how you want to be, and now you've really got to change their minds. So much energy. Don't we all just really want the full permission to be exactly as we are? This isn't licensed to be a jerk. Who wants that? Nobody. Only the one in pain does this. If you give yourself permission to be fully as you are in every moment, you will learn very quickly who you are and who you're not. It will clarify, and you'll make fewer errors in your attempts to be accepted. You see? The ego is a salesperson. Marketing, sales, and PR. So much energy. Just be free of it. If you find somebody in this world that will give you that permission, while you still think you need it from another, hang out with that one. What would it be like to be in a friendship where somebody would let you be exactly as you want? And also know this. It's like this. To thine own self be true, because what choice do you really have? And I'm talking about the self that you think you are, the expression of you in your ego and personality. What choice do you have except for to be exactly as you are? So to thine own self be true, and yesterday's version is today's prison. Past. Do you see it? So free in every moment, that whatever is flowing through, there's a complete sense of now this. I am in total allowing acceptance of what is expressing itself through me. Again, this isn't licensed to be a jerk. We know this. But all, sadness, joy, excitement, even anger, there's no problem. Just don't use it against somebody. It's almost like the boundaries, the confinements of who you are with that permission fall away, and you The funny thing is, from here you might think you might go on a tear, but no, you fall into a loving, peaceful stillness. Like that, in the dawning of actual choice, of actual free will, beyond karma and past, where would you go? What would you do? You know the saying, what do you give the one who has everything already? As the one who has everything already, what would you chase? So, is it okay?
Yes, just seeing how the identification in this case was covering up this mountain of sadness, what it feels like a mountain of sadness, is elucidating, and definitely feels like enough for me for right now. Thank you.
Beautiful, okay. You know, there's something in this. This time, something in me really wanted to start with the end. Which is just a reminder that there's something that precedes all of it. Something that sees from the place of preceding all of it and is unmoved by it, untouched by it. But it's essential for ourselves to be honest and sincere, authentic with how it feels. We can't really move except from there. Sometimes grace can intervene, or mercy can intervene and free us, you know? And that's all very nice. But it's possible, and it's real, and it happens, this. But you must give yourself permission to feel how you feel, even knowing that this is part of a drama that you've seen from the other side of the two-way mirror. And also, if you truly want to be loving and compassionate for another, you will grant them the same dignity to honor their experience. And that in that, allowing them, truly seeing them, accepting them, loving them, they now have the opportunity, whether they take it or not, to be free of it. You can provide this space of healing and forgiveness of yourself from the place of compassion for your own self. Having done that, you also can do that for others. Not trying to fix them or heal them or explain to them or instruct them or reject them, but just allowing them to be exactly as they are without any expectation that it will change. And this is forgiveness. And this can change, well, the world, without exaggeration. Start with yourself. Practice with others.
Thank you.
Also, you've been here before and survived it. You've looked from inside of it, ensnared in it, helpless in it before, and you've survived it. You'll survive this one also. The happiness grows on the other side every single time, doesn't it? And also, as you've already had this experience, this sensation that you've already survived all of it anyway. It's only the experience working its way through the script. So in that, we can just relax a little. Can you find a way to really push through, to actually truly, truly love yourself? To lay all of the criticisms aside. All of the strategies to overcome and just breathing, can you just but honestly, not as some kind of a meditative practice where you're focusing on the breath and there's a practice, but can you just relax now for 30 seconds? And be like, in this 30 seconds, there's no problem. I'm totally okay. Huh? You can pick up the rest of it on the 31st second. Pick it all back up again. You think, oh my God, I'm okay. Maybe even a sweet sigh of relief. And if you're able to do it, know this is the truth. Even if it's just a little glimpse, this is the truth. And it is a certainty that in time, this is how it will feel to you in every moment. It may be years, it may be tomorrow, it may be lifetimes. But can you relax knowing that it's on its way? Whether it makes you feel better or not, it's true.